Welcome back, my friends, to another late upload. March's book club was centered around Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. You'll be enjoying a different host in the form of Kiki. Her pick of this classic posed a lot of interesting questions in regards to the lengths people will go to hide truths and morality. How far is too far? And how young is too young? I hope you enjoy the discourse.
And we are live. Welcome in, folks. This is the Mess Hall Hangout here on our monthly book club. This month's book is Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. This is a book that was chosen by our good friend Kiki from Kiki's World, at Kiki's World on Twitch. Go check her out sometime if you have the chance. We have also co-host here, V87, again, another streamer, member of the Mess Hall. This is Kiki's show. She volunteered to help us run this book club for this particular book. She loves this book and shared it with the club, and I want to let her take over from here. So thank you very much, Kiki, for bringing this book to us. The floor is yours.
We read Ender's Game, as Gendered introduced us about. So, friends, what were some of your initial thoughts about the book? Is this
Hey, mister. Hey, partner. Hey, partner.
Or did you read it or listen to it via audiobook or both? Usually I read it and listen to it, but this time I just listened to it because I read it years ago. I like the book a lot. I think it's interesting. I always like sci-fi, space type themed novels. This is a reread for me.
This is a reread for me as well. Hi, Squandy. I turned her up. Let me know if you still can't hear Kiki.
Oh, they can't.
That's what he said. I read this in grade school, somewhere, I think, in high school. I was a very voracious reader during my teenage years, and this was one of many books that I consumed at the time. I went through the whole Ender's Game series at that time. It was paperback then. This time, going back through it, I did the audiobook version and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This was new to me. I had not read it yet. Hadn't watched the movie, anything like that. I knew of it, just never bothered to read it. So this was all new to me.
I think I had initially picked it up because my brother had the novels. He had the whole series, and he liked it a lot. So that's what kind of piqued my interest in it.
Hey, mister. Hey, mister.
So, what are some of your initial thoughts about the book? Anything you particularly liked or disliked throughout reading the novel in general? Or I guess thoughts on characters too. Did you have a favorite or anyone? I guess like anyone you particularly liked or disliked. Favorites, I should say.
I mean, so let's break that down into two questions.
Yeah.
Did you like the book or not like the book? I enjoyed the book. I particularly enjoyed this, like the sci-fi elements. Obviously the big reveal in the second, in the last bit about how Ender had essentially been fighting the aliens all along. Like that was a huge twist for me the first time I read it. This time, like, knowing it was coming, it was still a pretty big point. Like, I liked that whole format. Like, I like the root, like that sort of twist to it. In terms of like characters, we'll take that as a separate section. V8, what would you think of the book?
I liked it. I listened to the entire book in like a day and a half.
Wow.
So.
I mean, the chapters are really short. They're like 5 to 6 minutes, like for the audiobook. So.
Yeah.
Obviously, I liked it a lot because I've read it before, and I don't think there's anything I really dislike that much about the book. There's a lot of like, I don't know. There's some aspects, but I say like, for the most part, I like more of the book than I dislike it. But
the parts that I don't like, I would say I don't like the idea of children fighting wars, like even virtually.
Fair. Same.
Like the whole it sits up there along with if you think about today's modern military and like drone pilots, like drone pilots in today's modern world get just as much PTSD as people in the field because like
Sure.
it's a very traumatic thing to kill other people, and then to like suddenly reveal, oh yeah, Ender, you just killed this whole race of aliens. Like that is not something that they probably should have ever told him. Like it's just
Yeah.
the reveal to him was so incredibly traumatic. It like sort of obviously feeds into the rest of the books, but yeah, that
Well, like-
part I don't like. But obviously it's the hook.
Yeah, it is the hook because it's very interesting. It has like very different like dramatic and like plot revealing events throughout the book. I guess I don't particularly like the military and the adults like kind of like forcing children to like be in the military at such a young age and like tricking them and making them think certain things are a game when they're actually like real life and all of that like manipulation and stuff like that. But,
Well, like I guess I would say the whole. We'll get into the structure and more of the book later,
throughout of
but the first part of the school,
Hey,
like
mister.
where they were like learning
Hey, mister.
to build teamwork and all that part, like that part I'm fine with. Like
that part's
that's okay
important, yeah.
because that's that they're not actually killing anybody aside from what Ender. I think it's the second school that really sort of bugs me. But yeah, hi
Yeah,
lady,
for
welcome
sure.
in.
I don't mind the whole school aspect of it. I don't really agree with the tricking them into fighting and them not realizing that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But like I went to military school as a child and
Actually,
I
didn't know that.
I enjoyed it. I didn't see anything wrong with that end of it.
Yeah,
And a lot of the similar type of stuff happened at my military school, where kids are just kids. Some kids are assholes. It's just the way it is. But the fact that they were doing all of it and leaving them in the dark about what was really happening is kind of messed up. But the bunch of kids being in a military school learning how to be leaders and stuff, I don't have a problem with that. That's normal.
Yeah.
That happens now.
It's good for kids to like learn like discipline and like leadership and like how to work as a team like early
I
on
think-
like that. Yeah.
it comparison. Hot take, I'll say. I think the public school system is pretty messed up. I think military school is like at least
Agreed.
more transparent about what's going on.
More structure, like with that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think in a lot of military schools they focus on the physical health aspects to a degree, and they
Sure.
make it part of it versus like sort of just shoving it in public school. Like I think there's a
100%.
lot of value there.
100%
Military
agree.
school, or at least the military school I went to, was essentially a mix of normal school with ROTC crammed in
Okay.
everywhere there wasn't school going on.
Yep.
I
Which
actually
is
didn't know that about you. That's interesting.
what was it? Was it? Wasn't there a movie like that? There was a movie
Major pain.
about a military school and like kids taking it over because they were.
I don't think I've
it
seen
was-
that.
Oh, there's several of those, I'm sure.
Further.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with military school.
I don't either.
Yeah, that part of it I didn't have any issue with. I would have thought it was awesome if I got to go to military school in space.
Right.
Probably would have been.
Right.
It's probably better. Yeah, and space especially. Yeah, that aspect.
All right.
I mean, and they did think it was pretty cool too when they were like in the school aspect as well. So
Police Academy 4, Killer Bob says. Yeah,
that's what it's called,
exactly.
Police Academy 4.
No,
Oh, what?
he's being a smartass.
Oh,
Keep
I have no
going.
idea what he's talking about. What are your thoughts on some of the characters? Did you have a favorite or anyone you
Buddy?
particularly disliked? Which
Buddy?
is, I'm sure, an easy question for people that probably don't like, but you probably have
you know what-
similar views.
Maybe. I think my favorite character would be Valentine. I think
Same with me.
She was very interesting in just like her own character arc. She was obviously less developed because she wasn't the main character, but seeing her grow and sort of like how she initially very much disliked Peter, but grew to see him as something else, and like that, I just felt like she had an interesting character arc, and I really enjoyed her impact on Ender.
and her growth. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Valentine. As somebody who had never read this before, when he left to go to school, and we didn't hear about them again for a while, I just assumed that her and Peter were out of the book and done. And then when they came back, I was like,
Fair.
oh, cool. There's a whole nother secondary story going on with them.
Yeah.
I think she
For
was
sure.
my favorite as well. I feel like I could relate to her in certain aspects, like character-wise, like with personality and stuff like that too. And I thought her character growth was good as well. So
Besides that, I really liked Mazer Rackham. I think just hearing sort of the tragedy of how like he had to leave his entire family behind simply for the purpose of like going out into space and coming back and using relative space-time travel to prevent him from being too old to help the next generation of like genius generals. I think
Yeah.
I would love to see a book just about him.
sure, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. And yeah, I agree. That was pretty sad. He comes back to Earth. When he gets back, like, doesn't know any of his family, essentially. Because
Sure.
the ones he did know are all gone.
Yeah, although it's an interesting sort of plot device that I think really sort of leads into the next book and the book after, like, and the end of this book,
Sure.
right? Because we know you can extend your lifetime by traveling, and we
Sure.
see them actually do that.
Through space and time.
Yeah. I didn't know going into this that there was more than one book. I didn't realize this was a series. So
Yep.
towards the end of the book, I'm like, I don't understand what the point of this is. But
Will you
then finding
read
out
more?
that there's more books, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. They are setting up for something else later.
Will you read
General
more?
Annoyance. General Annoyance asked, "Did anyone in the book think Battle School was cool?" I don't know if anybody thought that. I think a lot of the kids were pretty jaded. I think once they got there and they got fixated on the game aspects of it, they probably enjoyed those parts. Many of the kids in Battle School seem to have, I don't know, like once they're there, like their life on Earth is done. And so I think for the most part, a lot of them are very much, probably invested in whatever they can be in this military school / game. Hey, Casual, welcome in. You're a 10.
I don't know if this changed some of your character views or not, but if you could be a
Hey
character
there!
in Ender's Game, who would you choose?
Hey there!
What?
If there's anyone you'd want to be.
Nobody.
No.
I
I don't know.
I
if
don't.
there's anyone you
I don't
particularly
think.
liked a lot that you.
No, like I think it's a very in talking about like the whole world and everything, like it's a very messed up world. Like they've limited
true.
everybody. They've limited families to only having 2 children.
kids,
Having more
yeah.
is like that's China today, right? You can't have
Sure.
extra kids in China right now, and that's not a great place to be. I think
Sure.
it's the military is very focused on figuring out how to defeat aliens. People on Earth are there. There's all this like political bullshit and potential wars looming. Like it doesn't seem like a good universe to be in. Besides, like at the end, maybe when like you see Ender and Valentine like traveling off. Like I think that part is super cool and interesting. If I could do anything, I would love to be like a part of that. But I don't know that I would want to be either one of those, just because
Fair.
their lives are pretty fucked up as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's situation in this book sounds like something I'd want to deal with.
Fair. I was just curious.
Yeah.
What makes Ender the ideal candidate to be a military leader? Why was he chosen over his siblings, Valentine and Peter?
General Annoyance says he wants to be Graf.
He wants to be Griff. Why am I not surprised by that?
Your
Why?
question-
General Annoyance.
I mean, what makes Ender the
He
ideal
just wants to
candidate
be a little fatter and a little older every time we see him.
Well, I think too. I want to know what his answer is, but while we wait for him to answer, I think part of the big reason why he was chosen over them is like, for example, Peter. He has a lot of anger in him,
Well,
and that like kind of, I think, could be another negative aspect to how he reacts to certain situations. And then Valentine is also just very gentle too, and I don't think she could handle the negative aspects of like tough decisions. So I think like
So
a big reason why he was chosen is because he had a lot of their similar characteristics in both of them, but also like not some of those weaknesses that they had.
I mean, in comparison to say like any of the other characters, like his out of his siblings, yes, the reasons you
Gets out of his
mentioned.
siblings, yeah.
Okay,
But
I was like, out of the siblings, he's obviously the least psychotic and most
yeah,
logical.
true.
You know,
Yep.
Valentine is too emotional. Peter is just
Mhm.
too psychotic. Like he obviously
Yeah,
has
he's kind of crazy.
Napoleon syndrome or some shit. So I think out of all of them, obviously Ender is the right fit. I would also say all three of them were geniuses. Like that's they say that over and over throughout the book, and I think one thing, you know, probably a lot of people take for granted. People think of military, oh, you know, like fighters, and you know, you need strong people, people willing to make hard decisions, whatever. I think Ender was just able to think on his feet and make the right decisions as he
Yeah.
did. Like, you know, even going back to
Quickly. Very
when
quickly.
yeah, like
Strong-minded people you need to.
fighting those kids in school, like the two kids he killed, right? He
True.
didn't set out to kill them. He set out to stamp out any chance they would come back. So
Yeah, that
he
was
made
another
sure,
messed up situation where they
Right?
lied to him.
Yeah.
He had no idea
Yeah.
that either of them were dead.
yeah, not
Yeah.
until later, yeah, right? Like that's hella messed up.
Yeah, I guess.
Find out that you think they just got to go back home, and then you find out like multiple years later that you actually killed them.
Yeah, it's kind of messed
messed
up.
That should have been buried and never brought
Yeah,
to light.
they shouldn't have told him
Yeah.
at all at that point.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, if they're gonna wait so long, they definitely should have told it all. But
that's just what happens though with like
yeah,
the whole because he only found out because people were trying to go after him like for you know, trying to go after Graf and trying to like it's just political bullshit again. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It
true.
politics and lawsuits apparently are a problem in this universe too.
Okay, hold on. Also, I still
Hey
want to know
there,
why
mister.
General wants to be Graf.
Hey
He hasn't
there,
answered that
mister.
question yet.
Hey, Cap. General, why do you want to be Graf? Keep
We
going.
wanna
He
know.
He can answer. All right, so
How does Peter develop throughout the book? Has he changed, and do you think he was a little bit better of a person later on when he was more of a leader? Was his rise to power completely self-serving, or was he trying to unite the countries of the world?
we don't know.
No,
I mean,
think, I think he.
Well, just in your opinion, what do you think? I guess.
I think, as we were saying a minute ago, they're all geniuses. I think he knew the whole time. Once he figured out how to track all that stuff he was tracking, that if he played his cards right, he could be in charge of everything.
yeah.
True.
And he was going to do whatever it took to do that, including manipulating his sister into helping him.
Yeah, I think it
in
was very
whatever way he thought he
self-serving.
could.
Yes, very
Yeah,
self-serving
I think the whole thing was
actions.
self-serving.
There was that whole aspect of them like spinning up those other personalities to like to share opinions and gain a place in like the public forum, and like even Valentine, she admitted of her own accord that like she felt like her own personal views had changed during that discourse. I don't think Peter's changed at all. Like even though he took the more moderate character to represent in that you know as that anonymous person, he knew what he was doing the entire time. I do not think he
he was-
changed, but that's
He
only
was running
because
both characters, and he knew that character was his best chance to get what he wanted in the end, was to play that
Yep.
one.
yep.
Yep.
And
He's a very
Valentine's
manipulative person.
Valentine's final like outcome he didn't care about. So if he gave her the character that was going to be more, you know, politically disliked at the end, like it didn't matter to him as long as he got his goals. And she didn't really necessarily care either. She was just playing along because she felt like it was an important conversation to have, but she was being manipulated the whole time.
100%. We also have some questions from General Annoyance. How do you feel about Valentine helping Graf to motivate Ender during his difficult times?
She loved her brother. He was having trouble in school. I don't
True.
think she necessarily wanted to help Graf. She wanted to help Ender, and I think she made the right choice. She even put it in sort of a coded message to say, you're not Peter, and that was all he needed to hear, because she knew him well enough to know what he was struggling with.
Yeah, I think she was really trying to help him keep his humanity too throughout the entire time, and keep 'cause she knew who he was as a person. Yeah, and like you said, not trying to yeah, you're not Peter, you're not a bad person, you're not manipulative and self-serving like he is.
Well, I mean, Graf explained to her that, hey, why would he see Peter in the mirror? Why this fixation on Peter? And she's like, because Peter had this impact. Peter had this control, and so she knew the right keywords to help him distance himself from that mental image.
Yeah, and the second time she didn't want to help. She was pretty much forced to.
Right.
If she didn't want everything else she was working on to get unraveled, because he basically threatened her. He's like, you either help or we're going to let everybody know who these other two people are, and that they've been being influenced by children. How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, that was fucked up. I mean, but that's, again, this whole society. This whole society is about manipulation and control, and that's why Peter is actually such a good fit as a world leader, because that's all he's good at.
True.
Well, that and murdering squirrels.
That's neither here nor there. Everybody murders a few squirrels in their life, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I ran one over with my car once. I cried about it afterwards.
Yeah,
I got over it.
They ran under your tire.
I know. And I couldn't swerve because there's another car next to me. So then I was
really the same
younger.
thing.
It was my
If you
first squirrel.
swerve, they'll just swerve to get under the tire again.
That's true. I swerved. I was younger. I cried about it for a minute, and then I got over it. Yeah.
Yeah, like Squanty said, it's not the same. Running over a squirrel with
It's not the same. It's not-
I mean, it's my only squirrel death, okay? It happened and it upset me.
Next question after this, but I'll share a small story. The day I got my license, I was driving my car to my friend's house to go be like, hey, I got my license. As I was driving down this back road, there was a rabbit hopping on the side of the road, and I was like, yeah, everything's going good. There's a rabbit hopping over there. We're cool. Voop, he turned left and he was gone. And that was I was like, nothing I could do. Why would you do that? Why would you? But Mother Nature makes stupid decisions sometimes. Whatever.
I've lost count of how many birds I've killed with my trucks.
I would hope you were not.
Wait, really? Is it that much?
He drives a truck all day long. I mean, come on.
I know, but I just didn't think about I guess I didn't
So
think
the
about
first
that
one I was worried
with how
because
high
the first one was an eagle. And I was like, oh shit, I hope that wasn't a bald eagle.
I'll tell you right now.
It wasn't.
There's a lot of eagles in this country. It's I'm not saying you should target them, but I'm also saying there's plenty of them at this point.
Well, I assume you can't get in trouble.
Yeah,
No.
If you accidentally hit a bald eagle
it's
with
a
your truck and
federal
you're driving.
crime to kill one.
Yeah.
It's a federal crime to intentionally kill one.
Yeah, I think on accident doesn't count, but still.
You heard it here first. V8 is going to jail for killing
Because he killed a bald eagle.
All right, next question.
No. It wasn't a bald eagle. It was. It was not the correct colors.
Fair enough.
Wait. The females don't have white heads.
Neither did the young ones, but it
Are
was
you sure?
black, not brown.
Okay, we're good then. It was
There we
black,
go.
not brown.
There we go.
We've confirmed it. Do you think it was
No, I'm not a bird expert.
Okay, there's a big difference between the size of a hawk and an eagle, but I
Not
think
after
you
they've
should
been
know
hit by a
that.
truck, there's not.
True. Another general question. Do you think it was a right choice for Valentine to keep Ender off Earth at the end? Did she do it in Ender's best interest, or do you think it was self-guided?
I think that was self-serving, a little of both.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both.
She was doing it for herself, so she wouldn't be going by herself. But I think she also partly did it to protect him from Peter.
True.
D, all the above.
Because ultimately, that's what she's been trying to do, is keep him away from Peter and his influences.
Yeah. I think way back, even though she thought Peter had changed, she knew deep down that he hadn't, and like his threats from when they were a child were still very much a reality, and like if he ever had the opportunity to off them for his own good, he would. And so getting as far away from him as possible via space, time travel, whatever, is a good way to go. Get away. And so they outlived him and did their own thing.
General other answer a question. No.
No.
Okay, never mind. If you read this as a young adult, did you find yourself identifying with Ender throughout his isolation and struggle with adults in his life, or was his situation? I would say no, for me personally. But
No, I mean, I definitely liked the sci-fi aspects of it, but like I could not identify with him. He's a super genius. He's like, and his situation is very different from, I think, probably most people in the world. You know, he comes from a very well-off family by all regards, but he is a third, and that, you know, he's so as a, you know, person from well-off means, you know, he wasn't a minority in any terms except for by being a third. It's this really weird situation of like
Sure.
he was a minority while being, you know, privileged. It's just so weird.
I guess too, maybe he might have meant too. I guess I thought of it too as like just like I didn't really struggle with any isolation or issues with adults when I was younger, so I guess too, like in that aspect, I didn't really relate in any form, I guess I should say. That was
Yeah,
one of the general
I just
ones,
don't
questions.
like. I definitely liked some aspects. Like I could identify with like the his interest in the games and like some of his thinking of like
Sure.
how he dealt with situations, but yeah, not able to like really identify with him entirely.
Be general ones, I'm giving you credit for your questions. We're gonna say something,
No, go ahead.
or would you like me to continue?
I don't think we need to credit General. He knows what he came up with.
Okay, fine. I was just being nice. Fine.
He could have been here on this podcast.
That's true.
Okay, he
He's
chose not to be.
popping in the chat.
So stop
being
stop
like-
giving him credit for
That's
his
true.
questions.
He doesn't deserve any credit. He's not even answering the graph one. It says graph and then it doesn't tell us why.
Yeah, I deleted
Maybe he'll
those
tell us
questions.
by
How
the
about
end.
that?
Do it.
I did. I just deleted one because it was a duplicate.
That's fair.
You're about
Throughout
to
the
ask same
novel,
question again in a second.
did your opinion on Ender ever change?
No. Like
The same.
I don't think, in all reality, I don't feel like Ender changed, right?
I don't
Like,
think he did either. He
I
stayed.
think he's the same character through the whole book, and so like that's actually my one big complaint about the book is that I don't feel Ender ever had a real character arc of his own. Like everybody else did, and the world did, but yeah, he has like no real character arc of his own. Exactly,
That's true.
20. Like
He
he's the same.
He learned some skills, but he didn't actually grow as a person.
Right, right. He applied his intelligence to each situation pretty much the same way throughout. Even his interactions with Graf near the end of the book, like, you know, he's still just very much a methodical, you know, how do I deal with this old man stuck in my room?
He views
like,
every single thing he does as a chess game.
yes. So it's like that's my complaint about the book.
Yeah, I do like when characters have more drastic changes, or like as you know, since he was such a young kid who started off at the beginning of this novel, like maybe like some maturity throughout too. But also he didn't really age that much throughout it. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like hard to expect a kid to like change too much or grow too much, but also with how much he went through as well. I guess I would have liked a little bit more character growth with him too.
Yeah, he didn't even like change as much as a normal child would change during
True.
that time period. There's a big
Exactly.
difference
That's
between
true.
my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old.
That's true. True with what they were dealing with though.
Yeah, and like even given all of the trials that he went through just in the school settings, like there should have been more there. And then
Agreed.
even when he, at the very end, when he's like interacting with like the Formics and all that, it's like he's still the same kid. Next question.
I feel like I'm gonna skip this one.
The good or evil one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you guys like that one.
No, I mean,
No.
I don't think there's anybody who's good or evil.
I don't think there's any need for that one.
Everybody's gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I'm skipping it.
Not always for the same reason, but
I think
everybody's.
we'll all have the same kind of answer, probably, or opinion on this one. But is genocide, or in Ender's case, of where an entire alien race is annihilated, ever justified? Do you think, in your opinion?
I think that's the only case where we can actually talk about it. Genocide of any other kind is probably not even acceptable to talk
but
about
like,
on Twitch.
Yeah, that's why I was like.
But like,
But in
destruction
particular,
of an
like
entire...
with this one, entirely alien race. That's why I worded it kind of like that way. But
So,
yeah.
like, I think back to what was that? That was it. This spider planet on the books we were reading before.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely like
Planet
that
Murder.
aspect. Planet Murder. Yeah. Like, but the Sagittarius people who put them
Hey,
there,
partner.
I feel like made the right
Hey,
decision.
partner.
Right? Shut up, Annie. God damn.
Hey there,
Yes,
partner.
Warhammer. Look, my brain is mush, Annie. I've got so much going on. Okay, and I
Yeah,
I
same.
can't remember any.
Long last couple days.
Be glad I
My
remembered the
brain's full of mush.
Sagittarius, even though I can't remember their actual names. Okay, all I'm saying is that I liked their take on it, where essentially, they weren't in a place where they felt like they had the right to kill the spider creatures. Like they didn't want them traveling the earth and just causing massive death and destruction, but putting them permanently in prison on a planet is not the same as destroying the race and killing
Just
them
killing
off
them
forever.
all, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that's the right choice. And there's never a case for genocide, like, ever.
Yeah, I kind of figured we probably.
Yeah, it's like a zoo.
Felt
They
that
stuck
in
them in
this,
a
so.
planet zoo, Annie.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Planet Zoo. Alien Zoo. Yeah, I kind of figured we kind of all had the same opinion on where.
Yeah.
Okay, but.
And the
Then again, we play
realization
Helldiver.
at the-
That's a video game.
I
We're
think
not
of
getting
that
it.
a lot. I
We're-
know.
no.
I think about that a lot when I think about this
um,
question. But anyway, continue.
The revelation at the end of the book where you realize that they like basically started the war by accident,
Mhm.
and then we just do what we do and totally overreact.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it even worse.
Correct.
Agreed, Squandy. Agreed.
Oh wait, what is one?
So I mean, I think in terms
I
of
just saw what Connie said.
if anybody says genocide's okay, we're gonna like have to have a whole other show
Maybe I
on that
should've
topic.
just
Somebody's
said
gonna
no.
magically disappear from this podcast.
My camera's getting blurry.
Some-
Maybe I should have
somebody's-
just said yes just to start a spicy take for a minute. But
You
I'm
do
just
not
kidding.
do that on my stream.
I know,
Not
I'm
on my
just
stream.
Also, my camera keeps getting blurry, and I'm trying to stop it. It's not working.
She's
I'm
trying to
just gonna
attack us.
I'm just gonna.
So-
I'm just gonna be blurry. Ah.
So, on to the next question, which I think is entirely like related. Did you view the Formics as a totally alien race or as a metaphor for humans? I mean, they're definitely a totally alien race. The whole
Yeah.
hive queen mentality, like they
Squanny,
90.
the question that got deleted was the same question that had already been asked. It was just
Yeah.
in a different
Yeah.
spot asked again.
Was one mine and then one was his?
No,
Yes.
no.
That's why.
So there was
No,
there
no,
was a
they were
duplicate
both
question.
his.
Well, so there's
Oh,
two
I
things
actually
that we
put them in
skipped
twice.
here. One was a question that got put in twice. Another one was, Does anyone represent good or evil unambiguously in the novel? Are there any values that the novel suggests are universal, as suggested by a common value shared by the humans and buggers? And we just skipped that one because we all felt like there's not really any. If anybody's evil, it's Peter, and even there,
Peter.
he's
I was gonna
just
say
a
that,
product of his world. If anybody's good, it's Valentine, and everybody
Valentine?
else is Valentine,
Valentine's.
not
I mean,
Valentine.
Beans was pretty good.
Yeah, true. And he was really good to Ender and helped. I feel like
we
his
don't,
friendship.
we
helped
don't
him a lot
know
throughout
what
his-
Beans was like before or after this event, though. Like
That's
again,
true.
his character arc was very tiny.
Well, I mean, if you want to go off that, there could have been plenty of people on Earth that were good. We just don't know them.
Nah, fuck
Yeah,
'em.
true. They could have just acted like totally different people when they were in that
Kind of like,
situation.
well,
so-
what information we have.
They don't
They
exist.
could have been like, "Oh, this is a new
don't
place and new
exist.
people. I'm gonna act different than I did on Earth." So.
Unnamed characters do not exist. Keep going. All the red shirts don't exist.
This is a interesting question too.
long,
I
anyway.
thought. The government Ender's world plays a huge role in reproductive decisions. Financial penalties, social stigma on families who have more than 2 children, but put pressure on specific families who show great genetic potential to have a third, like Ender. Is the government ever justified in involving itself in family planning decisions?
Nope.
All right now.
No, never.
All right now.
I also agree. No, never.
Like,
Just
why would the government have any justification in involving itself in family? The problem right now is that the government's fucking taking too much of a justification
of a
in
decision.
planning family planning decisions today.
China, for example. Like I
Like
get
America.
they have fear of like overpopulation, but still, I don't think that's ever a good reason to,
I mean,
force people to only have a certain. amount of
Texas
kids,
is trying to
but-
track women's periods via app information to try and
Wait, what?
like that.
I don't
That's
know about that. Really?
That,
Oh.
Yeah, so one of the
interesting.
big things about that after the whole Texas decision to like totally go after any form of abortion is that they started trying to like leverage getting information from apps that track women's menstrual cycles because that is an indication of pregnancy, and therefore if you become pregnant and then the app starts tracking you and you're no longer pregnant, what happened? Oh, you're in jail. Like that's the way
That's
it was
not
sort
okay.
of being. Yeah, it's just it didn't go anywhere, but that's the
Good.
kind of shit that we're dealing
But
with.
like, just that someone had that idea in the first place
Squatty.
really bothers me.
It's just like again, it's just government doesn't have any
Oh, no,
role in the
politics.
family.
No
Government has
squatty.
0 role in the family. Like I'm sorry,
Squatty.
no.
Yeah, they don't.
We're
they
not.
don't
We're
belong
not having
Until-
a politics
in
discussion.
the conversation.
Until we're at a point to where extra humans actually cause a problem for Earth, like which it doesn't today necessarily. Like, no, and especially in the world of Ender's Game where we can build. We can send people to the moon. We can send people to Mars. Like they have space travel, so they have even less of a reason to control population.
That's true, because they have so many more places that they can go than just like hanging out on Earth like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So definitely in their case, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I agree that they have absolutely no reason that they should be doing that.
No, it's all just to exert control over the population, the people. There's literally no reason for it in that environment.
All right, Allied Squad, there's one more government question, but no, we're not having just politics. I feel like we had another adding question, the other one was mine, but this one is the government's near total control of these children from inception to monitor and recruiting them for battle school justified based on what we know of the formatics? Should...
No.
Oh, never mind. That's not part of the question.
No. Like
No.
again, the government breeding children specifically for the purpose of creating a super smart genius general. No, there's no.
No.
Why would this be
Yeah.
justified?
I don't know.
For the future of the human race. Look, if we can't fight these aliens without totally fucking up all, probably most of the planet's people and causing all this strife, we probably don't deserve to survive. I'm just going to say it. Let the
That's
formats
true.
have it. Like,
If we can't make
either
like,
we're
our
going
own
to go full
decisions naturally.
40K and make super soldiers and
Go for it.
and just like trust you know, the God Emperor, or just let the aliens have it.
That's true. If we can't make our own decisions and fight them off on our own, then
Selective
not a
breeding is
dominant
only
race.
allowed if you're a Bene Gesserit. Yes, that is correct. That's correct.
Not a dominant race. Then if
Muad'Dib!
you can't, can't live on your own.
Clone Wars, anyone? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different case, Annie, where like we paid, the council paid an alien race to build a genetic super army from the genetic seed of a very strong bounty hunter. It's just, that's weird.
Yeah. What so I may have forgotten this,
Okay, go ahead.
but who are the Formics?
The aliens? I don't know if that's actually
Is that what they're called? So I only remember them ever being called buggers. I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
I
they were
remember
actually called.
buggers. This was my question, so I'm not positive.
See, the Formics, also known as buggers, are a fictional
Oh, they
ant-like
are
alien
called
species from the
Formics, too.
Ender's Game series of science fiction novels by Orson Scott Card.
I don't remember them being called Formics. Yeah, I only remember.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever being called
buggers
that.
too.
I'm just maybe General pulled it from one of the other books and he just knows it.
Probably.
So he
No,
called
no, it's in the wiki.
Did
Yeah,
it?
but that doesn't mean it was in the book.
Yeah, I don't remember it being called that.
You said from the Ender's Game series.
Formics is used in later books. Yeah, I mean, the boogers. The boogers.
The boogers. Yeah.
Okay.
I just was curious because I'm like, I don't remember ever hearing anybody be called that
Yeah.
during the book. But I also read it 3 weeks ago. Or
That's
listened to
fair.
it 3 weeks ago, so I was like, maybe I forgot.
All right.
I think I'm gonna skip this next one unless you guys.
You don't want to
talk
ask the
about
question that I want to really give you shit for?
one. I mean, I don't know. I was trying to think of some in-depth questions, but I feel like this kind of went over what we talked about already.
Ask it,
I mean-
General says. Ask it. What is it? Ask it. Is having a childhood a right? What happens to a person when they don't experience this part of life? Does a person robbed of a normal childhood like Ender did have any possibility or of stability or a normal life as an adult? Yes, having a childhood is a right.
Yeah.
Like
I
I think,
agree too. That's also partially why I was like, I think we're all gonna agree on this one, but
but like, this is one of those things where the question is far too leading in that like
that's true.
it's all these headlines that you see today where like it's a question, but the obvious answer is yes. Like
Yeah.
So I think the real question is buried in the second part, which is like what happens to a person when they don't experience
When they don't
a
have
normal
a
childhood.
childhood.
And
Yeah.
you see these traumatic children who are almost like Lord of the Flies in space. Like that this is what happens when you don't give kids a chance to be kids and grow up and learn how to be emotionally capable the way they should be, and you just force them to fight each other from a very young age. It's stupid.
And I think too, like it just robs them of like, bonding, and I think friendships are important, and it helps with like I think their emotional like stability and things like that. They're kind of like robbed of when they're just forced to fight with each other and fight other people.
General, Ender's not still alive. He's fictional. He never really lived. So I don't think that your justification makes sense.
Also, you never answered our graph question. We really want to know why you want to be him.
I know
you're
why I
back
wanted to be
now.
him because Graf was in charge. Like, Graf had all the
That's true.
power through most of this book.
And General Annoyance just loves power.
And Graf pretty much like from beginning to end said, Graf's got it easy. Graf
got it
did
easy.
not have it easy. Graf had to deal with and watch this child and like find the perfect general from a very young age. And he was watching, I'm sure, many, many, many children throughout this whole process.
Oh,
It was probably like the worst. Like he probably had the worst job ever. Just having to like watch all these kids and figure out which ones were not going to end the human race simply by being. DeGrango. Thank you for your input, DeGrango. I don't know if I necessarily. I think ChatGPT would probably screw it up too. I think ChatGPT
Probably.
generated the video game, whatever I think that was a large part of that
maybe.
whole.
I mean, on that last question though, like look at like child actors and how screwed up their life ends up being
That's
from
true.
not having a normal childhood.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
most of them end up pretty screwed up. I think there's obviously exceptions, but it's also the same for look at people who were like very successful in their 20s or 30s and did like one or two big movies, and then you never see them again. Some of them
That's true.
because that one movie screwed up their life so much. Some of them because they made a big paycheck and they don't need to work anymore.
Or they like get burnt out and yeah.
See, here's
Or
the
want to
thing,
just
General.
enjoy life too.
Here's the thing, General. Mazer had a childhood. He had a life up until the point to where he had to give up everything. He got to be a kid, as far as we
And
can
he
tell,
made that
as far as
choice
we know.
as an
Yeah.
adult.
Right? Taking Ender's childhood away and then dropping all this trauma of, oh yeah, by the way, you just wiped out a whole other species. Congratulations, you win. Like, no, it's not okay.
But yeah, he didn't really have like a choice in the, not having the childhood either. Also, Moose decided to join us.
Oh, no, only half of Moose is there. His head's missing.
His head's here.
Head's back now.
Is being a kid really
Yeah.
that much more important than Mazer's wife, kids? No, none of it's more important. You're comparing a shit sandwich to a shit taco. Neither one of those things are
Shit
good.
Sandwich to a shit taco. What does he mean he didn't have a choice per se? I mean, he
No,
didn't really have a choice.
none of them had a choice.
He didn't have a choice.
Mazer didn't have a choice. The military sent him off into space so that he could live long enough to train the next super general. He didn't have a choice.
I didn't know what he meant like by per se. I'm like, what do you mean per se? He didn't have a choice.
The only choice that like should have happened is they should have sent his family with him.
I mean,
And
but
it-
what would have happened if he didn't agree? He didn't really have a choice
Ender-
not to
Ender
agree.
didn't- Ender didn't
That- that's-
really agree either. He didn't know he was
Yeah.
killing actual living beings. He thought he was still playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't really have a
Wait.
choice either.
Also, Ender didn't ever have a choice. His life was signed away before he was even born.
Yeah, correct.
It's
Yeah,
an
true, 'cause he wasn't
his
supposed to be
choice
born,
is an illusion of choice.
Because he was literally born, yeah.
Hey
for that.
kid, you could either be a general and protect, the whole earth potentially someday, or you could just go play with Legos. Would you like your sister to live, or do you want to play with Legos? We're gonna kill her, or you can play with Legos. It's not a choice. They didn't give him
Yeah.
a choice.
Yeah. Or you can go back home where your brother is definitely going to kill you.
Your brother's definitely gonna. Do you want to go play with Peter, or do you want to go to
I don't-
space?
I don't think he could have said no and kept his childhood though.
There was no choice.
I'm just arguing General's questions because he's trying to fight us.
It's what General likes to ask
That's what
questions, and
he
I'm
does.
glad he's here for it. I just wish he'd
I'm
chosen to
glad he's
join
here
us
for it, too.
on
Yeah,
voice.
General's not allowed to
I
add to
know,
subject
especially
matters. He's not
for
on the
some of
podcast.
his questions
chose
that
not
he
to talk.
asked that we're adding.
You
in. At least I
enabled
added
this,
them in.
Kiki, by putting his questions in here. I'm going to say
He put them
you
in
should have
first,
badgered him
and I didn't
into being
kick
here.
him out. That's
Okay.
true. Should have been. He put them in first, but I was nice and kept them in.
Okay, so putting yourself in the position of world leader, given what your civilization knows about the boogers and their invasions, what would you do? I don't understand that question. What information from the novel would lead to different courses of action? Was there any opportunity for peace, or was a surprise tech the only realistic option? Well, considering we had no way to communicate with them, and they tried to wipe us out by accident. They started the war by accident. Like,
True.
I don't feel like there was any sort of option.
I agree. I don't think there was really much of a choice.
You're all wrong at every point. See, General, this is where we disagree, and I'm glad you're here to be negative about it.
Me too. I like a fighter. I like a fighter. Yeah, he would have probably fought us in like every.
Squandy says, I think the circumstances, such as war times, means you must exclude right or wrong to achieve a goal. To mean that necessity does not inherently negate morality. It's still wrong, but in the circumstances novel deemed necessary. I agree with that, and that's why it's
Sure.
an interesting
Interesting
book,
point.
and I'm glad we're not living through it.
That's true.
That's why it makes
Me too.
for a good discussion.
I agree.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that have to be done in war that don't. If you had time to think about it and other options, you would easily not do. But in order to achieve victory, to
That's
avoid
true.
more suffering later, you sometimes
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah, a lot of normal like rules and laws kind of get thrown out the window during those times. Yeah, because the important parts are like protect citizens,
Like
win.
chemical warfare
Yeah.
and torture and nuclear
Mhm.
bombs. Yes, let's move
Yeah.
on. New question. If you saw the movie, how did you like or dislike it in comparison to the book? I did not see the book. I did not see the movie. I did not think it would be good. Did anybody see the movie?
The only thing I saw from the
Yes,
movie was a
I
spoiler
watched
that
it.
ruined the whole book.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
So you- so
I
you
watched
Scrolling
it.
through, I was
It's
scrolling
mid.
through YouTube Shorts, and somehow, randomly, before we'd even talked about reading this book, I saw the scene where Ender finds out that they were actually real aliens.
Oh, that sucks, dude. That
That's
sucks.
such a crappy part
And
to
when I
accidentally
saw it,
see.
I was like, oh, whatever. I've never read the book, and I don't care. And then like a month later, we're like, hey, let's do this book. And I'm like, oh,
I
man.
already
You're like,
know
"Oh,
the
no."
ending.
What are the odds? What are the
Yeah, it
odds
wasn't
too,
even the
though?
ending. I thought that was actually the end of the book, and it's not.
I'm glad you at least like got to experience the rest of it though.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say this out loud and let it be what it is. From my understanding, what little I know, Orson Scott Card is not a good person, but I like this book. I like this series of books. I would recommend people read the other books too. Speaker for the Dead is another excellent book. I think
I haven't read that one.
it's a good series. Now, the movie was never going to be good. They could never capture this book as a movie because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes and so much that happens in Ender's head, and like there's a lot that you just can't really put in a visual content like that.
Watched it, and I agree wholeheartedly in what you're saying. You said you didn't watch it, right? But that generally happens to a lot of that's why I generally don't watch a lot of movies based on books that I like, because they usually miss a lot of important details and
Yeah, that's-
concepts in the book, and just do kind of the general whole part of some of the main parts and make it a little extra dramatic, and that's kind of what they did in this movie, and it was not great, and I did not enjoy it that much.
Yeah, he's a real
They
piece
missed
of
a lot
shit.
of
Yeah,
details.
yeah. I don't know anything about Anscondi. I didn't want to look into him. I just heard he was terrible, and that's all I need to know. I don't recommend anybody hero worship Orson Scott Card. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about from the book? Characters, story arc, more stuff. Okay. So
No, I feel like there's too many hot topics to touch on. That might
Yeah.
actually
It just,
go-
I tried to kill any of the really hot topics before they could go
Yeah.
way off track, because I know that
Yeah,
we
that's
could just
why
spend
I was-
hours going through those.
That's why I was trying to be careful with some of them, because I just added a few, but I also felt like our opinions probably were pretty similar on some of these, so that's why I feel like they weren't.
Simple Mills Pop-Ums. These are goldfish-like gluten-free alternatives, and they're supporting my belly today.
Ah,
All right.
are they good?
They're good. Thanks, KB. You have the same mic. Oh my God, bruh. I do want to say thank you, Kiki, for choosing this book and putting this together. Thank you, General, for all of your questions and terribly wrong opinions. They definitely add to the content. Thank you, Squandy.
Wish you had joined us.
Annie, KB, everybody for coming in to Durango. I appreciate all of you so much. We are going to do this again in the coming months. Stay tuned for more book club shenanigans from the mess hall. We will be voting on a new book in the near future. Please check out the Discord. Come in. If you want to join the book club, you don't have to come on stream. We do appreciate people just coming in and reading the book with us and adding questions, just as General did. Although he added most of them. That's why I'm giving him so much shit. Next book is to be
He had,
determined.
half.
Yeah. Well, you duplicated some of them. That sort of put him over the edge.
That's true. That was not on purpose.
So we're going to be voting on the next book very, very soon. please, please, please hang out. Come check out the Discord. Come check out the mess hall. We appreciate you being here. And stay tuned for this video to get uploaded to a podcast service near you once Annie
Hi
can
there,
get
mister.
it.
Ender's Game will always remain a classic when it comes to military sci-fi. It's a great staple within the community and a good starter for many. Another great discussion of morals and what makes good character. For April, I will be back hosting with a book chosen by Aaron called The Shamshine Blind by Paz Pardo. Join us April 24th at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be streaming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gendred. Hope to see you there.